Welcome back to Donington Park, everybody, and welcome to race 2 of the Burney's V8s. 2 races today, 1 tomorrow. The Burney's V8s this weekend is made up of the Burney's V8s itself and the TVR shootout. Race 1 was for just the Burney's V8s. Race 2 is for just the TVR shootout. Tomorrow we mix them all together and end up with one of the biggest grids we've got all weekend long. So for this one, it's all the TVRs. Thankfully, I've seen Chris Ridge return to the circuit. He didn't have the best time in qualifying, but let's run you through the way in which they line up. Michael Caine lines up on pole position alongside Michael Saunders, car number 44 and 199. That's going to be a very interesting race to watch at the front of the order. Car number 66, Alex Taylor, has got Stuart Robb alongside on row 2, 66 and 177. Aston Blake lines up alongside Martin Glennie on row 3, 71 and treble 2. Ollie Rubin and Connor Kay find themselves together on row 4, 47 and 173. Guy Carter has got Dave Stewart for company on row 5, 761 and 95. Nigel Rubin and Michael Blake make up row 6, 180 and 151. Tim Davis lines up in 13th with Stephen Wiggins alongside on row 7, 69 and 99. Clive Leatherby and Bruce Carter are on row 8 of the grid, 58 and 575. It's then Peter Ankers and Thomas Owen on row 9 of the grid, 744 and 22. And on the 10th and final row of the grid, Chris Ridge and Jasper Gilder, 54 and 79. Look at that for timing. The safety car lights are off and they're working their way around the Melbourne hairpin. And then it will be all eyes Michael Caine. What can he do in drier conditions? What can Michael Saunders do? The qualifying times tell the tale. They're only, 4/10 apart. Now the conditions have changed. I'm hoping that Michael Saunders can bring a bit of a battle to Michael Caine and we end up with a TVR Cigaris fighting away with a TVR Tuscan Challenge car. That will be a very interesting race to watch indeed. The safety car lights have come back on. That or I just couldn't quite see it against the sunlight. However, the red lights are on, so hopefully the safety car... we may end up with another lap as Chris Ridge has pulled off on the right-hand side of the exhibition straight. So unfortunately, Chris Ridge with issues in qualifying, maybe with issues in the race as well. So the field will be informed, the red lights will remain on, the safety car will continue round, and we'll pick up an extra formation lap just as we're making up some time. Mark, Chris Ridge reminds us we can't do that.
No, unfortunately, but he's done the right thing. As soon as he realised the car was faltering, he tried to get the car out of harm's way, but it just, because it was at such a slow speed, because it was a formation lap, he didn't have enough motive power to get it fully onto the grass right up against the barriers, so it's parked slightly sideways, and now the safety car is actually stopping the cars on the start-finish line, so it will need, I think, Chris Ridge's car either for marshals to push it further in towards the barriers, but that's probably going to take as long as it would be to get a recovery truck down there. And of course, if the problem is that it's locked in a gear because the gearbox has failed, you can't shift it anyway. So.
Now, the first time today the sun has come out, the track will very quickly dry, and these cars, I think more than any, will want some temperature in the tyres and the brakes, and with the sun coming out that will help. But with a slightly damp track, is that going to introduce reflections maybe?
I don't know, I don't know. The one thing you can't run is you can't run slick tyres in this Burney's V8s. You have to run some of the tyres from the Motorsport UK list of 1A, 1B, 1C of eligible tyres, but slicks are not permitted in Burney's V8s.
That would be very quick then, wouldn't it?
Doesn't it look a fantastic sight? All of the TVRs on the grid. You know, I loved the TVR Tuscan Challenge when back in period it was just one of those championships, and I try not to think I'm looking through rose-tinted glasses. I think it was just one of those periods where it was such a unique championship with really good quality drivers in it, some rubbish ones as well back in the day, if I'm absolutely honest, but a car that has way more power than it did grip, and it was just a joy to watch for year after year after year, whether it be the early stages with the Rover V8 engine in it or when they introduced the AJP8 engine.
And those... go on.
Good job they got the telehandle there, because that front left-hand wheel is not turning.
No, it's not at all. Exactly what's gone on, we don't know. We can only speculate. But back to your point of the original TVR Tuscan Challenge, those drivers that were successful in the TVR Tuscan Challenge, 9 times out of 10, they're still being very successful today.
Martin Short, who went on and raced Le Mans.
Phil Keane?
Phil Keane did a bit of TVR Tuscan Challenge racing. Steve Hyde, who's going to race in this tomorrow, back in there. Ian Flux. Michael Caine.
All names.
Chris Hodgetts.
Yes. All names that are very, very quick names at that.
Bobby Verdenroe.
That one, you've lost me.
Well, he raced in BTCC and now largely races historic Formula One, does Bobby Verdenroe.
As you do. Don't we all?
So, yeah, it was just strength in depth, as I say. Anders Hildebrand from Sunoco.
Nice, yes.
From, He won't thank me for saying that because he was largely at the back of the grid, Anders, at the time. But yeah, he did race in the TVR Tuscan Challenge. Yeah. And there are a few of the cars now I've seen that have been converted for road use. I know there's one there with a registration plate on, but I have seen a few TVR Tuscan Challenge race cars that have now been reconverted into not they ever produced that spec of Tuscan for the road, but yeah, the old race cars that have been converted into road cars. Yeah. Amazing.
Michael Saunders there, the one with the one of the ones there with the registration plate. You'd imagine that's quite a lot of car for the road, isn't it?
So Chris Ridge's car out of harm's way now, up against the barriers. We do, though, need to get the telehandler back across to the other side of the track, which, standing on my tiptoes from the commentary box and looking that way, it's just crossing the track now on the exhibition straight. So this is going to be a slow lap behind the safety car to enable that telehandler to get back to the correct side of the circuit. And then even when it's on the correct side of the circuit, it's got to drive all the way back through the gravel trap to get towards Coppice, because that's where there is a little gap in the barriers that the telehandler can squeeze itself back through. So that's why the safety car is slowing the pack. The one good thing is that yes, because we had sort of gained a little bit of time, we're losing it through this, but the clock hasn't started ticking. It's still showing 20 minutes to go. We're going to get the full duration of the TVR shootout.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting race, that is for sure. Michael Caine and Michael Saunders at the front. Let's see what those two can do. But then when you look at the gaps further back, they are minimal. Ollie Rubin, 2 minutes almost exactly. But then you get 1.4 seconds back, Connor Kane on 2 minute 1.4, Guy Carter on a 2 minute 1.7. There's going to be so many battles, but of course the conditions have changed. So those that maybe aren't so confident in the wet, maybe more confident in the dry, and all of a sudden that brings them into the mix. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, very, very different conditions to qualify now, isn't it? So yeah, we're going to unleash. Well, okay, we lost Chris Ridge, but 19 of Blackpool's best onto the circuit. The TVR factory recently demolished, actually. The original TVR factory has recently been flattened in Blackpool, which is such a shame, because that's part of the history, isn't it,
probably
of car building in the UK.
TVR in it.
Yeah, I'd love to know where all the old moulds have gone. They'll be somewhere. Yeah. So Michael Caine, British touring car driver and, of course, former British GT champion. He starts from pole position in the all-black TVR Cigaris. What he might be able to do in these dry conditions, we will find out very shortly, because the car's now, for the final time, hopefully, behind the safety car, just coming onto the Melbourne Loop, and the lights should disappear on the safety car. We've got red lights now on the gantry, which means that, yep, lights off on the safety car, red lights on the gantry. We're good to go.
We are indeed. So let's see what Michael Caine can do in, by far and away, the newest car we've got out there on the grid. Are we doing a double stat? But as we are behind the, rolling start behind the safety car, you would expect we're going to do a side-by-side start. Yes, we are. Just drivers taking a minute to close in. It might be something of a sporadic start in terms of driver formation. But it's now all eyes Michael Caine. What can he do in terms of a good start? He's controlling the pace. The safety car peels off to the left-hand side and into the pit lane. Michael Caine will divert his attentions onto the gantry. The red lights are on. Into the headwind down the straight. And it's a slow start from Michael Saunders. He immediately comes under pressure from Stuart Robb, who looks to the inside, or looks to the outside, but to the inside goes Alex Taylor. So late on the brakes, he's taken the lead.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Alex Taylor. Michael Saunders now trying to go all around the outside of Michael Caine. Michael Caine also with a better exit coming out of Redgate Corner, and I think he might go back ahead of Alex Taylor for the lead of the race as they head down through the Craner curves. Alex Taylor on the wetter part of the circuit for the first part of the Craner. Michael Caine goes back through and retakes the lead of the race. So it was short-lived, wasn't it, the lead for Alex Taylor? He's back into second place, but that's still an improvement from where he started on the grid, which was third.
Yeah, it didn't last very long at all. So Michael Caine goes to the front. Alex Taylor with a good start picks up second place. Michael Saunders giving chase in the very commentator-friendly liveried car, all yellow with green flashes, and then it's everybody else thereafter, all being very well behaved. Predominantly single file for now, naturally still trying to get to grips with the new conditions, but also the drier and the slightly warmer conditions. Michael Saunders, quicker in a straight line, maybe, gets a good run on the exit of Coppice, isn't close enough this time. Alex Taylor thought about going defensive, however, almost 3 wide in the background. Ollie Rubin, who will be over the moon with the amount of grip he's got this time. In qualifying, you could hear him struggling away. Michael Saunders on the brakes in towards the Melbourne hairpin. Are we going to see a change? Maybe, but Ollie Rubin, very quick in a straight line, position made.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that car is the best part of probably 30 years newer than the Tuscan that it's just overtaken. But yeah, Ollie Rubin was certainly struggling in the wet conditions. He's still struggling there, trying to get the power down as the tail end of his car just twitches and squirms around under acceleration. And now he might come back under pressure as diving back up the inside comes Stuart Robb and regains the place. Yeah, so Ollie Rubin taking the place away, losing it, and now in a straight line, he takes the place back away again. So brilliant stuff.
Yeah, very quick in a straight line is that car. Now it's in the dry, so Ollie Rubin back up and into another position. I thought I just heard somebody miss a gear going over the start-finish straight. We've not seen much by way of changes of position further down the order, but we might see one now as we've got a trio heading their way towards turn one. Involved in that little battle is Bruce Carter, who's trying to figure out exactly where he needs to place his car because he's trying to play attack and defence all at the same time.
Yeah, so good fights going on. That's the TVR Griffith that he's just managing to squeeze his way through and past. So place gain for Bruce Carter there over the Griffith, which will be Clive Leatherby's car, won't it, that he's just gone and overtaken. Down towards the old hairpin, he can now press on and see whether he can gain another place or two. It's not the only Griffith we've got in the field, because we've also got Dave Stewart at the wheel of his number 95 TVR Griffith. He's just coming out of McLean's corner and up towards Coppice. For second place, though, Alex Taylor cannot escape the grasp of Michael Saunders, who is looking for the inside line going in towards the Fogarty S's, but he's just too far back. Then you've got Aston Blake at the wheel of the next of the TVR Tuscans, followed by Oliver Rubin. And then completing the top six at this stage is going to be the car of Robb, isn't it? Stuart Robb.
Keep an eye on Ollie Rubin. He's really closed in on Aston Blake here, and he's doing so at a very, very rapid rate. And with Michael Saunders still scrapping away with Alex Taylor, they're going to cost themselves a little bit of time. But so quick in a straight line is Ollie Rubin. Can he be late enough on the brakes to dive up the inside of the car behind, or the car in front of Aston Blake? No, not this time. Out of the final corner, everybody appears effectively at the same time. Ollie Rubin now might get that position made. Is this going to be a fastest lap of the race for Ollie Rubin? No, a 44.026 in comparison to Michael Cain's 43.103. But Ollie Rubin is absolutely flying. Position made on Aston Blake.
That's largely because I think Aston Blake is looking after his tyres. He came down the start-finish line all on the wet side of the circuit. He's not the only one to be doing that, so already clearly the drivers are well aware that their tyres may well overheat. So just trying to seek out the damper parts of the circuit to try and cool down their tyres and make sure they've still got some rubber left at the end of what is going to be a gruelling 16 minutes that still remain in this race. So Michael Cain now 4 seconds to the good, and I thought there was a problem there for the number 95 car of Dave Stewart, but it's just a little bit of tyre rub, wasn't it, as the car loaded up?
Yeah, I didn't know whether it was a puncture that just all of a sudden took hold, but no, a lot of tyre rub it would seem, as the rear right got heavily weighted as they go through the crane of curves. But for the moment, Dave Stewart is doing what he can to defend, but unfortunately it doesn't last very long at all. I don't know whether it was a small mistake, maybe it was an issue that you spotted, Mark, but Guy Carter goes screaming by, and a rather steamy stroke smoky Dave Stewart disappears over the crest of Coppice.
Yeah, I heard a bit of a bang and a pop, and then that was it. Dave Stewart lost all motive power, so he will hopefully stay off the racing line and get that car totally out of harm's way. I think he has. He's pulled up on the inside of Coppice somewhere, so 15 minutes of the race still to go. Michael Cain leading the way from Alex Taylor and Michael Saunders. Aston Blake and Ollie Rubin completing the top five. As over the start-finish line comes the TVR Cigaris leading the way. You see Alex Taylor sideways coming out of Goddard's, and up to third now comes Ollie Rubin. He's got himself ahead of Michael Saunders, so the yellow car dropping down into fourth position. So this is a brilliant drive by Ollie Rubin. You did say at the beginning of it exactly what I was thinking, that he's going to love these drier conditions, because Ollie Rubin was the one that was really struggling in the wet. Way too much power in his car meant that he was even wheel spinning, I think, from third to fourth gear. And of course, it's a much shorter wheelbase, the old Tuscan as well. So it is tricky in wet conditions, but Ollie is mastering it in this drying circuit as he heads down through the old hairpin.
Yeah, Ollie Rubin absolutely flying. You can see the Griffith just starting to break traction as he loaded up those outside tyres. And even now, going in a straight line up the hill, he's just dancing left and right. And another famous MSV circuit, Brands Hatch, the start and finish straight isn't exactly straight. That car never goes straight as they work their way along that section of circuit. But at the moment, he's really pushing on for second place. Over the crest at Coppice goes Ollie Rubin. And now he might work his way through and past Alex Taylor. Quicker in a straight line. Ollie Rubin screams through. As you said earlier, you would not tell that that car is the best part of, 40 years older, 20 years, 30 years older, something like that?
Yeah, well, Ollie Rubin's car, which is the car that's just taken the place, number 47 car, harks back to 1965, whereas Alex Taylor's number 66 car harks back to the TVR Tuscan Challenge, and that's one of the earlier cars because that's a 1989 car. So that's what the second year of TVR Tuscans, I think, was introduced in 88.
25 years the difference, and still pushing on very clearly, and a lock-up of the inside that just washes him wide. The profile of tyre is rather large indeed, isn't it, on Ollie Rubin's car, so you should imagine that's not helping his case in terms of how much that car is moving. Lap traffic slowly starting to play a part in this race. Aston Blake back over the line. Can't afford to rest on his laurels too much. Now, you said he's looking after his tyres, but Stuart Robb, I think, also doing the same. He dived for a wet piece of tarmac. Ollie Rubin back down through the Craner curves. This time slightly more sedate, as he's not really got too many cars to chase now, because Michael Caine is a long way up the road. So I think he's just managing that part of his race to the end. Go on.
Well, Michael Caine might be a long way up the road. That equates to 5 seconds. But Ollie Rubin was 1.8 seconds quicker than the race leader last time through, as he set the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 42.933 into the pit lane, I'm afraid. Bruce Carter, Carnival 5.75, heading in towards retirement with 12 minutes remaining.
Clearly some sort of issue with that car, and Ollie Rubin has posted that overall fastest lap of the race with an overtake involved as well. One of the other Griffiths that we've got out there is Nigel Rubin, who is just carving his way down the Craner curves. And unfortunately, if you're watching the stream in the pit lane, Bruce Carter comes to a stop, a quick chat with the mechanic, and I think that will be straight back to the paddock for him.
Yeah, so you mentioned Ollie Rubin, but his father Nigel Rubin heading up towards Coppice Corner at the wheel of the number 180 TVR Griffith. So where is Dad at the moment? He is sitting there in 10th position, Carnival 180, gained a place last time through.
Yeah, out of the final corner comes Michael Caine. Ollie Rubin is well and truly there. 5 seconds turns into 1.3 as a 1 minute 41.484, the new fastest lap of the race from Ollie Rubin. He's pushing on. Never mind what was 25 years the difference. How about 45, 50 years the difference between them?
Yep, so Michael Caine under pressure as he heads down through the Craner curves, and whether Michael Caine has pushed his tyres a little bit too hard in the early stages, he still wasn't trying to dive for any wet bits. Ollie Rubin just looking as though that car is on rails almost, isn't it? So a little bit of a wiggle as he came out of... Oh, and another wiggle there, actually. Forget that. It's not on rails, because that's 2 little moments he's had as soon as I've said it. So 10.5 minutes still to go. It is still Michael Caine that leads the way. BRDC member is Michael Caine. Up towards the braking area for Coppice Corner he goes. Ollie Rubin hunting him down all of the time. And are we going to see the Cigarists still in the lead of the race in the next 10 minutes or so? Or might the 1960 Griffith go through and pick up the lead? Ollie Rubin charging his way onto the coattails of the race leader.
He is indeed. You can see the car dancing around on the brakes, just refusing to go in a straight line. I think Ollie Rubin is... You've got to have a very fluid driving style, haven't you? You've got to make sure you let the car move a certain amount underneath you and don't restrict that, because that's the way to drive one of these TVR Griffiths quickly, quite clearly. Cutting back onto a later apex is Michael Caine to try and better his exit. Ollie Rubin was that almost onto the grass on the exit. I know I saw something being flicked up into the air. There was a bit of a lock-up somewhere, and that was the big lock-up of the inside front wheel of Ollie Rubin. Normally you see sort of front wheel drives locking the inside rear. Ollie Rubin's locking the inside front.
Well, at least we know what manufacturer of tyre he is running now, Ollie Rubin. He's running a Hoosier, and the reason being is, yeah, absolutely, you could see, because he's painted at the tyre white on them, so to pick out the tyre manufacturer. It was fully locked, wasn't it, that unloaded wheel? But it hasn't slowed him down. It was another fastest lap of the race from him last time through, and he's totally sideways through the top of Hollywood and down through the Craner curve. He had to get off the gas there. He found the edge of adhesion there, but well done to Ollie Rubin, because that was not far away from being a spin at one of the most daunting parts of the circuit.
Yes, yeah, I'd imagine slightly clenched was Ollie Rubin, because I think he just tapped one of the damper parts of the circuit, and you can see him dancing around, maybe overheated that left rear now, and that's why he's struggling. Michael Saunders into the pit lane. Normally this is one of those names that's always up at the top, but Michael Saunders, he's been struggling for pace and dropping down the order, and now into the pit lane he will come. Ollie Rubin appears into shot in the background of the exhibition straight, absolutely sideways once more, really pushing on to Michael Caine. But for Ollie Rubin, has he pushed those tyres too much? And now is the race swinging back the way of Michael Caine?
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see as to whether Michael Caine has anything left in reserve. We haven't spoken about Alex Taylor, who's still there in third place. Michael Saunders, as we say, retiring in towards the paddock area. Fingers crossed, whatever the issue is, they'll be able to sort it out so he can come back out for tomorrow's race, when we see all of the Bernese V8s mixed up with the TVR shootout. So that'll be a colossal grid of cars that we will see. Now means that the number 177 car of Stuart Robb gets himself up to 5th position, as over the start-finish line go the leading pair. New fastest lap of the race on that lap for Michael Caine, the race leader, 1 minute 40.773.
It was indeed. Next time Ollie Rubin comes through the exit of the final corner, keep an eye on that inside front. He's like a reverse touring car where you see them up on 3 wheels until the exit, and then the wheel starts rotating again. That's exactly what happened to Ollie Rubin. Through the old hairpin, Michael Caine rumbles over the curb. In a slightly more stylish fashion, Ollie Rubin flashes into shot. Up the hill they will go. Ollie Rubin this time not quite so many stabs at turning it in towards Schwann's curve. Michael Caine, just the precision for me. He's using every inch of circuit he can, and consistently going quicker, even though the tyres might start to wear down. The fuel load is coming out, and Michael Caine showing his experience.
Yeah, Michael Caine is somebody that's raced at the highest level and has been very successful at the highest levels of UK motorsport, whether that be either in British GT, where he was a champion in a Porsche back in the day, or at BTCC, British Touring Car Championship, where we've seen him have several appearances in that with different teams over several years as well. So Ollie Rubin looking to try and close in for the lead of the race. His father, Nigel Rubin, at the wheel of car number 180, still running round in 9th position. In fact, just gaining 9th place as a result of Michael Saunders diving in towards the pit lane. So Nigel, huge amounts of racing experience, having raced single-seaters in the past before switching to historics. What of the squabble for the lead of the race? Well, they are absolutely together as they come out of Goddard's. It is still Michael Caine that leads the way, and the lead advantage that was 1.3 seconds comes down to 3/4 of a second. Ollie Rubin sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 40.634.
Wow, sideways on the brakes. Michael Caine, that almost looks like brake failure, doesn't it? It was very late on the brakes, but it just carried its way in, maybe a lock-up or something of the like, but he's got his foot to the floor, kicking up the gravel to try and get back going again. Ollie Rubin will take the lead of the race, but that's an uncharacteristic mistake from Michael Caine. He just didn't want to stop.
Yeah, so let's just have a look and see whether he gets back on it again. If it was a braking issue, he'll be certainly dabbing the brakes now and pumping them just to make sure that he's got something there when he gets down towards the old hairpin. All looks good through the old hairpin. And I've got to say, Michael Caine did a very, very good job of keeping that car out of the barriers there. It wasn't far away from making contact with the barriers, but he just kept it out.
Yeah, the gravel doing its job, Michael Caine doing his. But it seemed to go a long way into the gravel, which means he was a long way past his braking point. So maybe something just isn't quite right. A bit of pad knock-off or something, and normally you see them just dabbing the brakes to try and get the pads reseated. Aston Blake literally firing his way up the hill as he changes through the gearbox, and at the moment Aston Blake up into what is 4th place and is, I don't want to say somewhat comfortable. He's just managing his own race, but a small mistake and that would cost him that 4th place, as not too far away is Stuart Robb. And for the moment, with 4 3/4 minutes to go, everyone has somewhat settled down. We've got drivers slowly starting to spread out, but do we have a battle going on further down the order? Yes, we do. Car number 5, that being in the hands of
Martin Glennie. It's been a renumbered car, yes, showing us 222 on my grid.
Yeah, showing us 222 on mine. So Martin Glennie in his renumbered car, in his renumbered TVR Tuscan. He's currently sat there in 7th place and he's being caught by Connor Kay.
Yeah, Connor Kay, who we've seen racing this TVR Tuscan with good success in other series. Also very quick at the wheel of his MG Midget is Connor Kay, but Martin Glennie is just ahead of him at the moment. I think Martin Glennie first started racing TVR Chimeras and then has moved over to this Tuscan more latterly. So Ollie Rubin leads the way. There is less than a lap time to go on the clock in a few seconds' time, so he'll be heading on to the final lap of the race before too much longer.
Yeah, the battle just going over the line is between Stuart Robb, who has now just lost out to the 761 of Bruce Carter. So Bruce Carter later on the brakes on the run in towards turn 1 managed to pick up that place, so that's a swap. Bruce Carter up into the top 5 now, Stuart Robb down into 6th place. Connor Kay still doing what he can to keep the pressure on Martin Glennie, but Martin Glennie has pulled away slightly on the opening stages or the closing stages of this lap, the opening stages of the following. As for Michael Caine, he is still out there, I think, and circulating. I've not seen him come back through. Yes, so he is still out there, just picking his way through the Fogarty S's. Naturally, he'll still be slightly nervous of whatever happened, whether it was just a long pedal or something happened, but whatever's gone on, he is still out there and circulating. Somebody going very slowly indeed, and now finally, I think, finding a gear. Was that the 180 of Nigel Rubin that was slightly caught off guard on the exit of Redgate? Whatever's going on there, Ollie Rubin is still leading the way in his inherited lead from the uncharacteristic. I don't really want to call it a mistake. It looked like something mechanical, just wasn't quite where it needed to be for Michael Caine. He's working his way in towards Redgate for the final time at full racing speed. This time gets the car slowed down and in towards the apex. On the brakes a lot earlier that time. As for Ollie Rubin, up onto 3 wheels with the violence in which he pitches the car in towards Schwann's Curve. On the brakes up at McLean's, there's no need to push, but he absolutely is. The car just dancing around on the limit of grip. Up in towards Coppice now for the final time. Chucks the car in and waits for the grip to arrive. It does so, and onto the exhibition straight for the final time, and using all of the circuit available to him. What a masterclass it's been for Ollie Rubin. We've seen that car so sideways. So we've seen all 4 sides of that car, whilst Ollie Rubin has been fighting away, trying to keep it pointing the right way. So for the second race in the Bernese V8s, the first of which for the TVR shootout, the honours will go the way of Ollie Rubin. He set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:40.634 just a few laps ago. And for Ollie Rubin, in towards the final corner for the final time, he had to work very hard indeed, lifting that inside front wheel as he gets to the apex. With a flurry through the final corner, Ollie Rubin wins the second race of the day for the Bernese V8s, the first of which for the TVR shootout. They will return tomorrow together with the Bernese V8s, all on a combined grid. The next car to arrive will be that of Michael Caine, who was leading for the majority of the race. Just whatever happened down at Redgate put him into the gravel. He lost the lead in which he had, and over the line to finish in what will be second place for Michael Caine. The next car to arrive should be Alex Taylor, car number 66. He is just working his way through the final couple of corners now, or is it going to be Aston Blake? I think Aston Blake has managed to go through and pass that of Alex Taylor. No, he hasn't. Alex Taylor goes over the line now, followed then by Aston Blake. So Aston Blake over the line to finish in 4th place. Alex Taylor held on to 3rd, although Aston Blake was under pressure from Guy Carter, who's had a good closing stage to this race, as he managed to work his way through and past Stuart Robb in the closing stages. Stuart Robb over the line now to finish in 6th place. It will then be Martin Glennie over the line in his Tuscan to finish in what is 7th place. We await the arrival of Connor Kay, who should be over the line any moment now. He's still ushering that of Martin Glennie towards the line. Martin Glennie appears first. He will see the checkered flag. Martin Glennie over the line to finish in 7th place. Connor Kay to finish in 8th. And then we await the arrival of Nigel Rubin, who had a problematic closing stage to his race. We saw that car sort of sputter on the exit of Redgate. But Mark is down there and awaiting the arrival of the field. Whereabouts is our race winner, Ollie Rubin? He should just be picking his way through the Fogarty S's now. Yes, he is. So we can hopefully bring some confirmed results to you by way of the sort of top 10 and thereafter. Unfortunately, we lost a couple of cars, I think 4 cars throughout that race. more attritional than we would have liked. The final car just coming over the line now. That being the 22 machine of Thomas Owen. But it was Ollie Rubin that took the win ahead of Michael Caine. It was then the 66 of Alex Taylor ahead of Aston Blake in 4th. 5th place was Bruce Carter. In 6th place it was Stuart Robb. In what was 7th place it was Martin Glennie ahead of Connor Kay, and then Nigel Rubin. And in 10th place, to round out your top 10, car number 69, Tim Davis. In 11th place, it was car number 99 in the hands of Stephen Wiggins for today. Steve Hyde will take it tomorrow. It was then the second of the Blakes, car number 151, that being Michael Blake, finishing in 12th place. 13th place, 744 of Peter Ankers. And in 14th place, it was Clive Leatherby. In 15th place, car number 79, Jasper Gilder, who had a good race, starting in 20th, finishing 15th. And to round out your 16 finishers, it was car number 22, Thomas Owen. Mark, you should have some drivers at least heading their way down towards you, maybe even with you, to have a chat. But Ollie Rubin, what a drive with the fastest lap of the race as well, 1 minute 40.634. I should imagine he probably needs a bit of a rest now with all of the arm twirling to keep that car under his spell. I can see that Michael Caine is heading down towards you now as well, Mark. So any moment now, we should be able to hear from our TVR shootout drivers.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so Ollie Rubin is already here. And then we wait the arrival of everybody else that we need to try and stop, because if I don't stop them, they won't stop. So I need to wave at each one. I'll come and grab you in a minute, Ollie. I want to make sure that we wave at our next driver so we stop Michael Caine. Ollie's got a big smile on his face. Michael Caine is going to come and join us. So yes, he does. So we'll just make sure we've got Gary Hawkins out of the way. And then Michael Caine comes to join us. And then are you going to wave at Alex Taylor for me? So car number 66, Gary, is the next one we need. So we've got a very smiley-looking Ollie Rubin who is alongside me. Ollie, it's fair to say that qualifying probably didn't suit your car. It wasn't to say you weren't pushing, but the dry conditions were always going to favour you.
Absolutely. We got these Hoosier tyres, and they were on the wet tyres in the qualifying. And I just knew that we were going to struggle from the off. But yeah, I didn't expect this at all. I thought Michael was just going to walk away, but absolutely elated with the victory.
It was one of those in qualifying. We were listening to your car, and you were part the way, almost half the way down the Wheatcroft Straight, and you were still getting wheel spin. Yeah,
so short shift up to 4th gear. Try your hardest not to wheel spin, but you know you can't help it sometimes when the conditions were as they were.
The conditions varied in the race. It got drier and drier and drier. Just talk us through the Craner curves and lap number 7.
Oh, yeah, catch me breath. So Michael come into there, and I don't know if he was trying to back me up, and it caught me a bit off guard, and it was a bit like, caught it, but no, it was all good in the end. But the Craner curves were especially greasy, and the Melbourne hairpin as well, but the rest of the track was pretty dry.
What can you do tomorrow?
Hopefully the same again, but you know, let's not speak too soon.
Well done, well done.
Thank you very much.
Let's grab a quick word with Michael Caine if we can. Michael's out of the car and just about to take off the crash helmet, and then we'll grab a word with Michael. So crash helmet off. Michael leading the race, and then clearly something happened at Redgate.
Yeah, I forgot where I was. I thought I was at Santapod there for a minute. No, we struggled with the brakes on the car, and I backed off and didn't expect the Rubin car to come so fast back, and I could see on the pit board, and I was like, hang on, there's somebody behind me. So I thought, right, I've got to crack on again, and the brake pedal, I was tapping it up, and I was okay with it, and then just going into turn 1, it went just nothing, and I was like, oh, she's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I mean, we just glanced the tyre wall on the outer edge. But, yeah, as always with TVRs, it always tends to be exciting. So, no, I mean, the car's been amazing. You know, Andy and the TVR Monster guys have just done an amazing job with this thing. You know, it's hard work to drive, but it's certainly rewardable. But we just need to try and sort the brake pedal, really, and then we'll be all right. So.
Nice to be back in a TVR, because that must bring back good memories.
Yeah, absolutely. The smell, the heat, yeah, I mean, I must admit, that's probably, even though we had a brake pedal problem, that's sometimes more reliable than the other ones we've raced. So, no, it's great. And to see all the TVRs here this weekend, you know, Bernie's V8s has done a great job, and everybody's been so welcoming for us to just come in and be involved with it. So, yeah, long may they do it again, and hopefully, as I've not damaged the car too much, Andy may give me another go in it. So,
hopefully tomorrow. Are you here tomorrow?
No, I'm not here tomorrow because it's not the TVR race tomorrow. So,
but they're all mixed up. You can all go out together tomorrow. That's the plan.
Yeah, but they're not allowing me to do tomorrow's race. So yeah, no, I guess I'm just being sent home, but on good behaviour. So that's not too bad.
Great to see you. Hopefully we'll see you back out again soon. Let's grab a quick word with Alex Taylor if we can. Alex, leading early doors.
Very briefly, but I'll take it. Yeah, no, obviously, Michael in Cigaris, the weather came to him as we were parked on the grid because they aborted the start, and the sun started coming out, and we're all sat there on wets, and he's on dries because he doesn't have wets, and so the speed that he didn't qualify in was amazing. Yeah, watching that go, this is not coming our way. So, yeah, I think leading into the first corner is the best I could have hoped for, and then he was gone. But, I mean, Ollie Rubin, wow. I mean, amazing, but delighted to be the first Tuscan home.
First Tuscan home, and much better luck than last time you were trying to race the Tuscan, and it gave you some engine gremlins at Silverstone. So good to be out in it for the first time really this year?
That's true. This is the first race we've completed in our Tuscan this year, and good way to go.
Tomorrow, what can you do?
Well, it depends what mess I've made of our wet tyres, Mark, to be quite honest. We shall see.
Well done, though. Well done, Alex. There we go. So that's all from Bernie's V8s. We'll see them back out tomorrow when we mix up all of the Bernie's V8s with the TVRs. Looking forward to that one. We'll see you tomorrow.